When you're searching for a different carb and all you have is maize that's left over from the last harvest, and you're trying to get through a 21-day experiment living off our own property, eating only what we can grow, it can be a little tricky. It's winter now and we shouldn't be growing corn at this time of the year, but it did come up on its own. So I transplanted it here and it's actually not doing too bad, but technically we shouldn't be growing corn through our winter. This is an Aztec corn, dent, or even a glass corn. It's not meant to eat like regular corn. In fact, if you do try to eat it like regular corn, which I have, you can boil it up till the cows come home and it won't soften like good old sweet corn and it won't be as nice to eat. What I'd love to do is mill up some of our corn, but I can't do that because we don't have a mill. I have ordered one, that should come soon. So what do you do? Or what if you can't afford one of those fancy mills? Well, you can use pretty much any blender, or even better, a coffee grinder. Because this type of corn is so hard, you still do need to give it a bit of a boil at the start, around 30 to 40 minutes, so that that corn is nice and soft. And this will also help in the overall blending process and binding process because it's softer and also a little bit more moist. You'll be able to press it into balls or a biscuit much easier. You don't need any binder like egg or anything like that. It has enough starches and stickiness to it that it will squeeze together and set in a ball or a biscuit shape so that you can fry it. A blender or food processor will give you a rougher mix, but a coffee grinder will give you a nice fine mix that's not as crunchy and is easy to eat. I prefer the finer mix, but a word of caution, you're going to smash your little coffee grinder. It's not designed to go through kilos of corn kernels. It's designed for a cup of coffee, really. So be careful that you don't overdo it and overheat your coffee grinder. Do it in very small batches, and that's practically all you need too, because these balls or biscuits are highly nutritious and are quite dense. They're tasty, they're nutty, they're like a ball of popcorn, but they are quite filling and surprisingly so, which made it an excellent food for Nina and I when we were trying to kind of survive here on that 21 days of eating only what we can grow. So once you have ground it down, whichever method you use, all you need to do then is grab it in the palm of your hand and fist it into balls. About the size of a cherry is probably the best, but a little larger is pretty cool too. That's fine. If you go about golf ball size, you'll get a nice soft center, and the best way is to deep fry in a good quality vegetable oil. Make sure that it's at the correct temperature. I usually drop a little bit of ingredient into the oil mix, and then when it's bubbling to the surface, I know it's hot enough to put the balls in to the liquid, just like you would with chips or any other things that you're deep frying. Nothing different there. But golf ball size will get you a nice chewy sort of center and soft center with a hard crust on the outside, and just cook them for a few minutes until they're golden brown. If you're going to make a biscuit, all you need to do is press it down. You can press it down with your thumbs or fingers. You could probably use a tortilla press even to do it. And then carefully put it into the deep frying liquid and let it fry up. And it'll be just like a nice regular crunchy biscuit, but very wholemeal-y. And certainly a lot better for you than a regular biscuit that's full of salt and sugar. Speaking of salt, you can add a bit of seasoning or whatever you want to it before cooking. Be a little careful because corn tends to bring out the saltiness. It has a natural saltiness about it anyway. Perhaps cook them up and then just sprinkle a little salt over them if you need to before you eat them. Keep them in the pantry or the fridge. Pantry's fine. They'll keep for several days. We actually kept ours for a couple of weeks and they were still nice to chomp on. You don't have too many of them. Like I said, they're very filling. But the other thing you can use them for is crumbling them in salads, just to add a little bit of crunch to a salad. And you get a nutty, crunchy texture, just like nuts would in any type of normal salad that you would make. And one thing that I really did love was crumbling them myself and using my own little chili vinaigrette mix mixed in with it, and I just ate it like that, and it was very delicious. Well, I hope you enjoyed that recipe. If you did, make sure you give it a big thumbs up and share the video around, because that helps heaps. Also, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye for now.